So once again, good morning, everyone. This is Tibor Major, and Shandor Bechok is next to me.
Hi, everyone.
Hopefully you already know both of us. But today's webinar will be about our new release, which is 4.8, and will be coming around this autumn. Hopefully for the conference season, you will already can download it, so it will be not just a beta or just a demoable version, but we are planning to release that already for the conference season. So what are our plans for this year and for the future? As I already told, 4.8 is coming. We are planning that for Q3, and we have targeted the offline mode in this release. I have already talked about this new feature, which is, we called it Auto Online Offline, which basically tries to eliminate the boundaries between the online and the offline configuration, because as you already got used to it, in MobileNAV we have an online login and an offline login, and the user sometimes need to switch if he want to mix that, and that has the pros and the cons, of course. But I think with this new feature, we will make this much simpler for the end user, and hopefully for the partners as well. I will come back to this in more detail. And after this release, there are more and more questions about Dynamics 365 or Business Central. Yes, our intention is also to target that. We are willing to create a MobileNAV add-on plus a configuration which is compatible with Dynamics 365. It has its challenges, of course. We possibly need to switch to OData from web services, because web services does not really seems to support the Office 365's authentication. And OData is much more modern and future-proof interface of Dynamics 365. So we need to switch to that. Unfortunately, the users won't really see anything out of that, but for us, it's a quite big work. So we ask for your patience in this matter. But yes, we will try to release that as soon as we can, sometime next year. So in the first half of next year, we are planning to release 5.0 or 4.9. It's not decided yet, but a new version which will be compatible with that version. Okay, so about our new release 4.8, these are the biggest features. As I mentioned, Auto Online Offline. Together with that, we are also enhancing the profile configuration in MobileNAV add-on. You will see the improvements of that one as well. We will totally redesign our base configuration because of that, because you will see that basically there is no need for separate online or offline page anymore. So the application is not necessary, and that's why we had to redesign the base configuration because of that. We are introducing a printing template, which is similar to the HTML template feature of MobileNAV, which allows you to basically print directly to label printers. The only restriction there is to have a text-based template like ZPL or CPCL or APL. And if you have a template like that, then you can use the placeholders similarly to the HTML template feature, and MobileNAV can send the generated and replaced text file or ZPL file directly to the printer. So you can also be in offline mode in the warehouse with a portable printer, label printer. You can walk around in your warehouse and print out labels for the bins or print out labels for the items. We have improved the staging and workflow, what we have introduced in 4.7 with a couple of new features to better control it. The first feedback from the partners are quite good, but they propose a couple of new requirements there, and we try to to fulfill them, and that's why we have included some new features in 4.8 for that. Export app data is also a new feature that's mainly for debugging purposes. In every MobileNAV application, you will be able to export the application data for debugging purposes, and you can send that zip file to us, and we can basically restore that zip file, and basically that somewhat duplicates or mimics the device behavior on your side. So hopefully this will much ease the way we can find very complicated problems or bugs in the application. Fortunately, there is not that much of these, but sometimes to track these and to debug this is a bit of a hassle. So we need to ask for your login details, and you need to give us somehow permissions to join, etc. But if you export the app data and you are, for example, using an offline mode, then we don't even need to access your system, because in the offline mode, every data is available, and we will, together with the zip, we will receive everything for the offline login, and we don't need to access your server at all. So let's see each feature in a bit more detail. First of all, auto online offline. Auto online offline is basically a mixture of online and offline configuration. What I mean from this, so basically from this release, if you enable this auto online feature, because of course, as every feature in MobileNAV, you can decide whether you want to use it or not. But if you enable this auto online offline feature, then basically you can create a mixture of online login and offline login configuration. So you can basically use online feature on offline pages or offline features on online pages. So for example, you can have an offline sales order, and on that offline sales order, which is accessible in the offline mode, and you can continue your work anytime, you don't need a connection for that, you can create a PDF printout button. So that's the online feature on the offline page, and vice versa. So that's one thing. Second thing is that there will be only one login button. This sounds simple. It is simple as well. But basically, the user don't need to worry about anymore whether he is logging in for online or offline. He just logs in. Okay, and this not just applies for the auto online offline. This applies for each and every other modes. So the traditional online mode or traditional offline mode of MobileNAV will remain, but the login screen of MobileNAV will just contain one single login button from now, and the application will remember the last mode, whether it was online or offline, and the next login will just log into that mode again. In auto online offline, of course it tries to log in. If it detects a connection with the server, it tries to connect and refresh the pages. But basically, that's how the login will work. The concept of auto online offline is, yeah, I can say that it's somewhat simple. So basically, we said that we will use the offline pages, and the offline pages will work just like it would work in the traditional offline mode. But what is a plus or an extra in auto online offline mode is that when the JavaScript has been executed and the changes has been created by the offline logic, then the application, if the application sees that there is a connection with the server, it tries to immediately upload the changes to the server, and also immediately refresh or update the list and the cards what the user is seeing. So basically, as a user perspective, the auto online offline mode, if you have connection with the server, you will work just like in online mode. Okay, so if you modify a single field, the JavaScript will run. If you have JavaScript, it's not necessary. But if there is a connection with the server, that change will be automatically uploaded to the server and the card will be refreshed. So basically, this has the advantage of that basically you can anytime lose the connection with the server. It's not a problem from now, because you are working on offline pages, which are basically used as almost in online mode. But if you lose the connection, every data which you have edited so far will be available, and you can continue your work even without interception. And I think that's the biggest thing regarding auto online offline, that the user don't need to worry about whether he's connected with the server or not. He just works. Of course, there can be some features which are online only features, like the PDF printing or accessing the posted documents because you don't want to download all the posted invoices in your system, etc. So there will be some traditional online features which you are, as a configurator, can decide which part of those you want to use in online or offline mode. That's your decision again. But the user can use the system in auto online offline mode, where the system is basically continuously checking the connection with the server. That's the continuous connection polling. And if there is a connection, then he uploads the changes if you were in the offline mode for a while. And we have introduced the new concept. We call it connected offline, and that's a special mode in the MobileNAV client application. And the connected offline mode has two statements or conditions. First of all, you need to have connection to the server. That is what the connection polling can tell to the client. That's one thing. And the second thing, which is also equally important, is that there is no pending changes which are waiting for upload to the server. Why I'm saying that? Because it can happen that you lose the connection for a while, and you continue your offline work, and you are started to collect the offline changes in the change log, just like before in the traditional offline mode. And then all of a sudden, the connection polling signals that there is a connection with the server. We can't just simply download data from the server from that moment, because you have collected a couple of changes for the offline mode which needs to be uploaded before you are receiving any new data, fresh data. Or let's imagine the other example, when you try to print out a PDF. If you have not uploaded all the sales line creations or the sales line modifications to the server, you cannot print out the PDF. Otherwise, you will see an older version of the PDF, which is not good. So that's why the connected offline mode has two conditions. You need to have connection with the server, and you don't or you can't have any pending changes which is waiting for the upload. And if these two conditions are met, then you can use the connected offline mode. And in connected offline mode, we upload the changes immediately, and we refresh the data, and you can access the online features as well. Okay, I think it's time for a demo. I hope you got excited. Yeah, let me quickly restart the application, because I want to show you the login screen as well. So that's the new login screen. One login button is missing now, the login offline. So there's only one login button, as I promised. So you can just press the login. Of course, you need to define the credentials, but now the system is trying to connect with the server. Once it's logged in, then you can see that on the upper left corner, you can see the MobileNAV icon without the offline mode icon, because we are basically in online mode now, because the auto online offline is almost like the online mode. Okay, so I'm connected right now, and basically I can go into the different parts of the configuration. I can access the sales quotes or the sales orders. You don't really see it right now, but when I press refresh here, there is a connection to the server, because we are in connected offline mode right now. So we are retrieving the data from the server, and we are not just retrieving this data from the server, we are continuously saving that to the offline database. So if you lose the connection, you you will see this and open these sales orders directly. And since you could just see the in progress icon for a while in the under the MobileNAV icon, the background sync is also working. So the background sync has been introduced with 4.6 already, and that's useful stuff. And in connected offline mode, it also runs. Of course, it won't upload anything because you are in connected offline, so you don't need to upload anything, but it can receive fresh data from the server. Okay. And I just show you one example. For example, the posted shipments or the posted invoices. These are online pages. So this has nothing, no offline indication. If I would lose the connection for now, and I will show that later on, I can't access this list or cards, whatever, because I have decided so in the configuration that this should remain as an online feature. Okay, and let's see a quick auto online offline demo. I go to the sales orders and I will create a new sales order. Whenever I modify, please take a look on the progress messages, because it will say please wait, and then it's synchronizing. So when I, for example, select a customer here, it's please wait, and it's synchronizing. So it not just run the JavaScript, which was quite fast, but it generated 11 modifications, which were basically the filling out the bill to and ship to, etc. fields in the offline mode, which you already got used to it. That's the offline logic. But those changes has been uploaded already. Okay, I can go down to the lines. I can create a new line, and it's continuously filling out this this sales order on the sales order. So on the server side. Sorry. So we are in connected offline. I can make modifications here, and basically if I go to the NAV side just very quickly, and if I go to the sales orders, then you will see these sales orders immediately in the system. So this is 60. That's what we are filling out right now, and I have just entered a bicycle without quantity for now. So we are in connected offline mode. Let me change the quantity. As you can see, the unit price changes. So basically this works just like you would work in the offline or the traditional online mode. I will also create item tracked or serial tracked item here with quantity 1. I can also access the traditional online features. What is the item tracking? Item tracking would be quite complicated to create for the offline mode. Maybe we'll do some shortcuts, but in general, the item tracking as such is very, very complicated in an AV, so that will remain an online feature. But since I'm connected in offline mode, I can access the item tracking for this particular item, and if I press the serial number here, I can see all the available serial numbers from the server side. So I think that's pretty cool. So let me select this serial number here, and just one other example for a traditional online feature, PDF printing. On the header, I can press the preview, which generates a PDF, and there you go. I can access this PDF. It contains my bicycle, and this PDF has been generated by the NAV on the server side. So we are almost in online mode right now. Okay, but what happens if I shut down the server? It's not the nicest way to simulate the network loss, but I don't want to unplug my network because then you don't see anything. So that's not a good idea. But I stop the server for now. And if I go back to the client, hopefully within a couple of seconds, you will see a warning icon. There you go. So basically, you can see that the client application now has detected that you have lost the connection with the server. And that warning icon indicates that you are not in connected offline anymore, because one of the condition is not met, because you don't have connection right now. And what happens with my sales order? So can I modify it and continue that sales order? Of course, because this is an offline page, and the offline validation and business logic will run because of the JavaScript and the offline page. So I can modify the quantity here for the monitor. What I can't do is I can't press the item tracking, because that needs an online call. The operation is cancelled because the online call is needed for that. Or again, for the PDF printing, same thing. So you cannot use print out the PDF. You cannot access the item tracking, but you can create new lines here or modify the existing lines, and the pricing and all the things what you have decided to be available in the offline mode, those will work. Okay. Okay, then let's imagine that now we have a network signal again. So I will restart the server quickly. And because of the connection polling, the client will detect that now he has a connection to the server. This will happen hopefully pretty fast. And if he has a connection, he will start the synchronization process automatically. If it doesn't happen, then it can be a client bug, which is likely, because this is a demo product for now. But the connection polling should identify this and automatically start the synchronization process. Sorry for that. Okay, now the synchronization has finished. And we can go back to our sales order and continue the online work as before. So if I go back and find my sales order, then I can continue where I was left off. So basically, I can preview the PDF now with 2 pieces, or go back to my second line here and open up the item tracking, because I have just only added 1 item tracking so far, so I need to add 1 more item tracking for the other item, which will be this one. Okay, and now let's release this sales order, because we are in connected offline mode. I can do that, so I can press the release, of course. Yeah, refresh, release. Come on. Oops, sorry. Okay, now it's released, and I can press the create shipment. On the create shipment, it's a complicated method again, which basically creates the shipment, the warehouse shipment on the server side. And this also, if you are not in connected offline, then of course this just will be remembered as a function button press, and you don't see anything. But if you are in connected offline mode, then the warehouse shipment will be created on the server side, and as you can see, the client application can immediately open that up near the sales order. And on the warehouse shipment, I can press the create pick, which is again a complicated thing. From the warehouse shipment, the system will create a warehouse pick. And if you now go to the warehouse picks, at the end of the list, you will see the warehouse pick with the lines. That's again good news. So we have generated the warehouse pick. Now, second demo, we shut down the server once again. So let's imagine that we lost the connection again. Now the system has again or will detect that we have lost the connection with the server, hopefully. And once that detected, then basically I am again not in connected offline mode anymore. Just wait for a couple of seconds, and if it doesn't work, then I will restart the application, because maybe it's buggy. Okay, now we have detected that that the connection has been lost with the server, but the warehouse pics are still accessible. So if I open up the warehouse pics, I can go down to the lines and process the lines. That's also a new thing. In our base configuration, the offline warehouse were not existed so far. So basically, to create and process warehouse documents in offline mode was not existing so far. But now, since we have one and redesigned configuration for the MobileNAV application, now we have created the offline version of the warehouse pics and all the warehouse documents. And you, as a configurator, you can decide which parts from the configuration you want to use in offline or in online mode. Now the warehouse pics are configured to be available in the offline mode as well, and that's why I can also access the warehouse pics while I am not connected with the server. So as a warehouse employee, I can walk around in my warehouse. Once I have synchronized my warehouse pics to my device, I can pick the items from different bins in my warehouse. And again, as you have seen, the 4.7 release, the workflow and staging is available for warehouse pics already. So here, the system automatically started the staging for me, where I need to scan in the item number, scan in the bin code, and confirm the quantity to pick, etc. So the staging also works in offline mode. That's not a big deal, but just very quickly execute the item, scan the item number. I'm just quickly turning on my camera to show you that I'm using a Zebra scanner with a couple of predefined barcodes. So that's what I'm doing right now while you are not seeing me. So now I'm not cheating at all. So I'm scanning the bin code, and now the quantity to handle pops up for me automatically, where I can enter the quantity to handle. And at the end of the process, I can press the register button, and the JavaScript simulates that this bicycle line has been deleted. It's not deleted because we are in disconnected mode. The system just basically made that disappear from the users list. And an item tracked item, because we have also ordered 2 monitors with serial tracking. So let's quickly also see that. I scan in the item number for that. I scan in the bin code for that. No, I don't want to, because I scanned a different bin code. Yeah, there you go. And I need to scan in the serial number. I'm sorry for that. I have not printed that because I need to always change this. But I will scan it from my monitor, and there you go. I have scanned in the serial number, and I can press register on that. And because of the workflow and because of the JavaScript logic, so thanks to the JavaScript logic, the system automatically saw that we have 2 serial tracked items in this list. So it not just closed the previous one, but it automatically jumped to the next one. Okay, where you can basically continue the scanning, scan the item number, scan the bin code, and scan the other serial number, and I can press register now. So, and at the end of the process, the pick with this number has disappeared from the list automatically, so the user can go to the next one and process the next one. And everything what we have done so far was in disconnected mode because the server is stopped, so I can now start it again. Now it's running, and hopefully with the connection polling, the system will realize that now we have a connection, and it will start the synchronization. That's what did not work in the previous shot, but let's see. Let's wait for a couple of seconds, and if it works, then it's fine, and if it's not, then I will do it manually. Now, okay, now it works. So it detected that we have a connection, and the in progress icon signals that the synchronization is in progress. That's the background synchronization, basically, what you already had in MobileNAV for the offline mode. And once it runs, it takes a while because of the registrations, and I have just restarted the service there, which, of course, the first service stage start is a bit slower. I got an error here, which I can immediately see in the synchronization pane, and I can also press continue to continue with the synchronization. And at the end of the process, I can decide whether I want to refresh my changes or not. So basically, that was the very quick auto online offline demonstration. I hope you enjoyed it. Sorry for the minor problems regarding the demo, but this is something like a very beta version, so it has just been finished by the development, and the test house is just started testing it. But we wanted to really show it to you at the first shot because we are very excited, and I hope you will love it once it's released and it's stabilized. Okay, next topic, advanced profile configuration. As I promised, together with this redesigned configuration and this auto online offline, we will give you the possibility to customize the profiles in a much deeper than ever. So what we have changed? Originally, in the MobileNAV configuration, you need to decide on the page level in the page configuration whether a certain page should be visible in the menu and in which category, and what should be the order. Now this has been moved to the profiles. So in every profile you can define one by one what do you want to display in the main menu in that particular profile, in which category and in which order. Okay, so that's one thing. That sounds a small thing, but I think that's very cool. You can disable the staging per profile. So if you have configured staging for a certain page, per profile, you can decide that for this particular profile users, the staging should not run. Okay. And a couple of flags: exclude, lookup only, and use as online. This applies to the pages, basically to the offline pages. And with exclude, you can basically make a certain page disappear from that profile configuration. What I meant with that. So let's imagine that we have our base configuration with the sales orders, with the sales lines, and all the sales price calculation. Okay. For that, of course, we need the sales prices and the sales line discounts and all this information for the JavaScript to be able to calculate that value while you are disconnected. But you can decide that you don't need this pricing at all. And why not to allow to very simply decide per offline page whether do you want to exclude that offline page totally from the configuration, and you don't want the user to download that at all or not. So that's the exclude, what the exclude can do. So basically you can, with one single button check, you can exclude the sales price or any other offline page. And if the JavaScript code is prepared for that, that's very important, then you can very nicely show that to the user that now, for example, the pricing is not available. I will show you a demonstration right after this. Lookup only. You can also configure that for pages which are used as lookups, or maybe you can also access them for other lists. If you check the lookup only, then that particular page will be only accessed in lookup mode, and you can't open its card. That's a small thing. I don't want to really speak about that more deeply, but that's the lookup only flag. Use as online is one of the most important flag here, because as I said, the base configuration of MobileNAV now combined, which means that we only have basically offline pages and some other traditional online pages like the posted documents, etc., where we didn't want it to configure them for the offline mode. The use as online flag can say for an offline capable page that you want to use that offline capable field as an online page. So that is basically the old-fashioned online mode. If you check the offline pages with users online, then the JavaScript and all the offline logic will be basically excluded, and the user can only access it in online mode. Okay. And as I said, our base, and I will also talk about that later on, but our base configuration will be 80 or 90% contain offline capable pages, which means that all of the pages are offline capable, and you as a configurator, you can decide in the certain profiles whether you want the items to be available in the offline mode, or you want to use it as online only, or for the sales orders, sales invoices, and for all of the pages in our configuration. But you cannot just do this. You can also hide certain fields or make certain fields read-only per profile. That is also very interesting because originally you did not have this this possibility. You could play around with the field control, so programmatically try to hide certain fields depending on the current user or whatsoever. But now per profile you can make decisions about the fields. Of course, the field set will come from the page. That's a mandatory thing since we are using web services. But out from the field collection, you can decide which fields should be visible in certain profiles. And the last thing, which I partly mentioned, is the not available values, which is basically null values. We have introduced this because of the exclude or the users online feature of the advanced profile configuration, because for now, as an offline configurator, you can design your shiny and very smart offline logic. But what if for certain users you don't want to download the sales prices, because for him it's not important. He don't need to take care about the price at all. He don't need to see it even. So in such cases, you can basically in the JavaScript code or in the offline operations. In the offline operation, this will be automatic process. In the JavaScript, you can prepare for that because you will have new functions for this. Whether a certain drill down or a certain lookup object is available or not. And if a certain drill down, like the sales price drill downs on the sales line offline configuration, is not available because you have excluded that in the profile, or you have made that users online, for example, then the JavaScript can set null value for the unit price, and the user will just see that, okay, the price, I don't know what is the price, it's not available because the offline logic cannot calculate that. Of course, this will only visible for the user if he is not in connected offline, because if he is in connected offline, then we upload all of your changes. So if you select an item and modify or increase the quantity, of course the server side logic will run, and that will calculate the price, and then the unit price will be visible to the user as well, because we are continuously refreshing the pages. But if you have lost the connection with the server, then you will see not available for the unit price. So let's see a quick demo for this one. First of all, let me go to the server side, because I also want to show you the user interface. The user interface, you should not take it as final, because it will be much shinier than this. But since this is a demo, we just wanted to create just a very simplified UI where you can change these settings. But believe me, the final product will be very easy to use, because you will have views for online mode, views for offline mode users, and views for auto online offline mode users. So as a configurator, you will clearly see what will be visible from the main menu of the user, and from there with the tree control you can go down and see which other pages are accessible from that particular main menu item, and you can decide whether to exclude that or make that lookup only, etc. And that will be the final product. But for now it's not that shiny, but already usable. As you can see on our profile configurator screen is that we have duplicated all the profiles. So now we have job offline, job online, marketing, sales, etc. Why we have done that? Because in our base configuration, we will give you a pre-configured profile for the offline users and the pre-configured profile for the online users as well. So you as for typical scenarios when you are implementing service or sales, you can just quickly choose whether you are using the sales offline profile or the sales online profile for a certain user, and there the users online flags are already set. So here you can see the users online flag, for example, for the customers, for the sales invoices, and all the other related objects or related pages where it's necessary, for example, the item unit of measures, etc. So for these pages, the users online will be already set, and you don't need to set that. While in the offline version of the thing, the profile, there everything is users online blank, because we want to use everything in the offline mode. So here the item unit of measure, or the sales orders, and everything is not flagged with users online. So that's the two different profiles. And what I wanted to show you here is two things. Let's imagine, because you have seen the demo, the pricing and everything was available in the offline mode while I was disconnected, which means that the offline version of the offline client, the MobileNAV offline client, had sales price information for the pricing. But what if you don't want this? So let's exclude the sales price and also exclude the sales line discount from the sales offline profile. And not just do this, but also find the sales order lines and press the fields here, because I also want to hide a couple of fields for the sales offline, because the ship to, the quantity to ship, the quantity shipped, and quantity to invoice and quantity invoice are not really usable in the offline mode, because the JavaScript logic doesn't take care about this. So I just want to hide this. But this is just one example. So I quickly press those. Okay, and one more thing. I go back to the profiles, and I also change the marketing offline profile, and there I will mark the company and the contact as users online, because I don't want to download the companies and the contacts, okay, because there are too many. Okay, so I've changed the profiles, and what I need to do, I need to go back to the client application, of course, and I log in with the sales user. When he's logging in, hopefully he will detect that the configuration for him, because of the profile, has changed. So it will download the new configuration from the server. Okay, hopefully I have not, no, the server is running, so it should be fine. Yeah, it's downloaded. Okay, there you go. So it's downloading the configuration now. And for this sales user, I only have the sales offline and the marketing offline profile assigned. So I'm ready, and I have already enabled the auto online offline feature here, and the connection polling and everything else. So this is set up just like my other demonstration user, where I also have warehouse and everything else. But for these particular users, if I now go to the sales orders and I open up a sales order line, then you don't see the quantity to ship and all the other things, because in this profile I have decided so. Okay, that's one thing. The second thing is that yeah, like now I can go to the contacts or the customers as well, and since I'm in connected offline mode, I can access the contacts. That's not a problem, because we have connection with the server. But what happens if I go back to the server and shut that down? So I stop it. Okay. So now it shows the warning icon, which means that I have lost the connection. If I press on the contacts and then try to refresh, I will get an error message that I don't have connection, because the contacts uses online. I cannot access them. If I go back to the sales orders, and let's do this very same script. So I create a new sales order here. I go to the lines. I create a new line here, and I choose the bicycle. And what happened? The unit price shows that it's not available. Why it's not available? Because the sales prices has been excluded from the profile, and the JavaScript has detected that, so it set a null value for the sales price. And not just for the sales price, because of the other calculation, the line discount percentage, because of the missing line discount records, and the calculated line amount is also not available. So this not available is a new feature because of the excluded and missing relations. And this is not a read-only field. So if I try to modify this, I can make modifications. I can enter the unit price if I want to do so. I don't want to do so right now, but it can be like that. Okay. And of course, I can also not able to print out the PDF, etc. So now let's quickly start the server back, just to show that the not available is only visible when you are not in connected offline mode. Because if I have connection, of course, the pricing will be done on the server side automatically by the NAV, and the user will see it because we are continuously refreshing the data with the server. So now hopefully it will, yes, it realized that we have a connection with the server. It started the synchronization process. And if it goes away and everything was good, then I can just simply press refresh on my card and it will show me the price. There you go. So I press refresh. Yeah, it throws an error, but never mind. I just, yeah, maybe I need to refresh the lines here. Yeah, I know what it is. Yeah, because we have created the document in the offline mode and it did not have number, so that's why it has changed. So that was the sales order what we have created, and there you go, the unit price has been calculated with the server. And of course, if I change this, it's working, and I can also create other lines here in the connected offline mode, and the pricing will run in that case automatically, and you don't see the not available. Okay, so yeah, that was the quick demonstration for advanced profile configuration. Okay, just very briefly, because we are running out of time, redesign-based configuration. I think you have already seen that during the demo. As you can see, we have online and offline pages merged. So we only have one sales order page now. And in the profile configuration, you can decide whether you want to use it in online or offline mode. And as I promised, most of the pages will be offline capable. So except from the traditional documents like the posted documents or of course obviously reports. For example, reports cannot be done in the offline mode, of course, but out of that, every MobileNAV based configuration page will be offline capable, and per profile you can decide how you want to use it. And as you could see, we also have predefined online and offline profiles where everything will be set and ready to use. You just assign the online and the offline sales profile, and the user will use the system like that. Okay, next feature. This is a bit out of the offline topic, the printing template, what I was already talked to you about. This is similar to the HTML template feature, which is an offline printing possibility where you can define an HTML template with placeholders, and the system can create that HTML document, and you can print it out in the offline mode as well. The printing template is similar to this, so that the only restriction here is that it needs to be a text-based template with placeholders. And if that is available, like ZPL, APL, or CPCL based languages, supports the text-based printing, then you can define a ZPL template with a ZPL designer, and of course you need to change the barcode information with a placeholder for MobileNAV, and that is what MobileNAV will replace when you press print. And once the ZPL file has been constructed, it will just send that directly to the device. And the printer, there will be a printer configuration in MobileNAV application that will depend on the platform. So depending on the platform, you might have different options what the certain platform supports. So for example, on Windows 8 or Windows 10, you only have Bluetooth or network. On Windows C, you have all the four. So you also have USB and serial port there. iOS only support network printing as far as I remember, etc. But the good news is that you can have a mobile printer with you. I also show you how that looks like. I have one very nice Zebra printer with me. It's a mobile printer. It's called QLN 220. It has also other versions with a wider paper possibility, and I also already having some vignettes in there, which is ready for printing. This is something like 2-inch by 2-inch paper inserted, and let's see a quick demonstration for this one. So what I will do is I go back to my other user, because it has connection with the other yeah, the server is running. Okay, it has connection to the pages where I want to print right now in the warehouse. So I will just quickly print two labels for demonstration purposes. One item label, which will contain the item cross-reference number and the item number and the item description with a normal barcode, EN13 barcode, and I will also print out a bin label with a QR code there, just to show that the ZPL supports both. Of course, I don't want to demonstrate ZPL capabilities, but it's nice to see that both options are available. Okay, sooner or later we will log in. I have forgotten to save the configuration for demo user, and that's why it's downloading now the configuration. But once we will log in, then I can go to the items, and I will go to the bicycle item. And on the bicycle item, for testing purposes, I have created a print label button. And if I press it, then hopefully you will see that the printer is printing. So it has just created a new label. I try to show it to the camera somehow, other direction. There you go. So basically that's a MobileNAV icon there, AEN 13 barcode, the item number, and the bicycle, which is the name of the item. And it's not a secret. If I go to the item line and I try to scan it, it works, which is quite cool. So our printed barcode works. And if I go down to the bin contents, just for printing out, for example, a bin label, I can go down to the bin code and open up the bin card, because on the bin card I have also created a print label for the second demo for printing. Again, this will print. So it has just printed a QR code with the MobileNAV icon and the bin number. The position is not the best because this has been finished around 2 a.m. in the morning, so forgive me for that. But this also works. So if I go back to the bin contents, for example, and I scan it, then it filters. then can utilize the printing. And the printing template is not that complicated. I can quickly show that to you, but the item print is, yeah, it's not really readable, but that's how ZPL needs to be created. But if you copy it to an online ZPL viewer, then you can also see how it works, and here you can also play around with the labels, etc. So redraw, and you can also adjust here the paper size, because we have 2" by 2", and there you go. So that's our very simple item label, and similar to this, we also have the bin label, which is a QR code. And here you can also play it around, because this is a designer, and when you have finished, as you can see here, this is the barcode. This is where the first cross-reference comes for this particular label. This is where the item number comes, and this is where the description comes. Everything else is just commands for the ZPL printer. This is the icon, for example, here, which is a pixel-based thing. It sounds complicated, but it's not that serious. So that's all. So I hope you got excited from this staging. I cannot show a demonstration because we are running on out of time, and this feature is also not ready at this very moment. But here we will introduce a couple of new things for staging and workflow feature. We will introduce two new validation behaviors for staging: the mandatory to validate or mandatory with change confirm. Originally, we only had mandatory, but now you can have a manually field which you cannot change. You just need to press OK on that. Yeah. That's one thing. And the second thing is the mandatory with change confirm. So again, it's mandatory, but if you try to change the value, you will have a confirmation message that you are willing to change that. Okay. And you can also set mandatory for function buttons and for drill downs. That's very, very exciting, because if you do that for a function button, then that at that particular workflow stage, the system will press that function for you automatically. So if you want to define a very simple workflow, and if at the end of the workflow you want the system automatically press the register button, then with the mandatory validation behavior for the register button, you can do that. And we can also do that for the drill downs. What that does is that at a certain point in the staging, when this mandatory drill down button will be editable or enabled in that workflow stage, then it will open up that drill down automatically, like the lines of the sales order. And from that moment, you can do your staging or your workflow for the lines. And the good news is that you can, or you will have field control commands when you have finished with the lines. So basically you can control that, okay, this particular mandatory drill down button has now completed, because, for example, you have created one line, or you have created all the necessary lines or whatsoever, and you can either call set stage validated, or you can also you call set field validated. This is a programmatic thing. So MobileNAV can't find out whether if you have went away from the main workflow card, which is, for example, the header, and you have went down to the lines which are mandatory, then when the lines is finished. It will be quite hard to configure that, but you can set a mandatory for that, and you can use field control to flag that for the header. Okay, export app data, I have already talked about this. During the login process, if you see any login error, so you can't even log into the server, you can press this export app data button, which is an extra. The mobile application will show you the error message, and near that error message, the OK button, you will see the export app data. But you can also press that anytime when you have logged in. So if you have experienced any error or exceptions in the application, you can go to the settings and press the export app data, and that collects the current login details only, and all the data regarding that. So all the other saved login configuration which you might have saved won't be included. So that's important, that you need to save with that particular user who has experienced the problems on that device. And of course, we also have other improvements, smaller or bigger things about this page. Maybe I quickly show that. If you have a page like this, like the Bing content, you can go and open up the About page, and that gives you the username, who you logged in with, domain, the object ID, the service name, and the web service URL as well. You can also copy these values from here, and you can test it. So this will give you an idea what is the service name, for example, for the page, and that gives you an easily identifiable thing. So for example, if you go to the sales invoices and you don't know by heart what is the sales service name for the sales invoice, then you can look it up here. Decimal places support. We only supported 2 decimal places, and we did not care about the NAV setting. Now we do care about that, so you can use it as decimal places there, either from the table level, or you can also change it on the page level, and MobileNAV will reflect that. We have also introduced the quantity increment configuration, because quantity increment was always 1. If you pressed plus, then it added 1. Now it will you can configure the increment as well, so you can also create 0.1 as increment in the configuration if you want to do so. We have created the date, time, and time clear button because there were no possible. So once you have entered the date time, you could not clear it. That's just a small thing. And from now you can configure the chunk size plus the background synchronization timing. So how frequently the background sync should run for the user in the client application, as well as the login type on the server side. So basically, on the user panel, if I can quickly show it to you, on the user panel on the MobileNAV add-on, you can set these flags or set these settings. So if you go to Setup, Users, then hopefully at the end, yeah, there you go. So there is the background synchronization for now, and that is what the upgrade script will do. If you import a new add-on, then you will see by client, because that's the default. So the client can set up the background synchronization period. But if you want to overrule it on the server side, you can turn that on and also specify the timing, because there is a general setup setting for the period, the background synchronization period, and you can enforce that for the user. And also the connection status monitoring, you can set 5 seconds, 10 seconds, etc. And you can also control this from here. The login mode is very interesting because you can also enforce the users to only able to log in in online mode, or only log in the offline mode, or only log in online or offline mode. He can decide which mode to use, or auto online offline, or strict auto online offline. So these are the 5 different modes what you can enforce from the server side as well. Of course, if you leave it by client, then the client can decide. So if he logs in to your server, and you have defined online and offline as well, then he can choose whether he wants to do online or offline right now, or he can enable the auto online, offline, etc. But if you overrule this and you say that, okay, this user is an online user, then he just press the login button on the client side, and no matter what he does, he will be online only user. And the base configuration will, or the user specific configuration will be generated like that. So this will overrule everything. Okay. And yeah, I don't know whether you have realized, but this is a very cool feature which I really like. So if you open up a card somewhere, then the opened card will be indicated on the list. So now you will every time see where you are in the list. So if you go, for example, to the customers and you open up the Canon Group PLC, and no matter if you are scrolling out from this, so let me refresh this. then I can scroll away and the current opened card will be indicated on the list always. And I think this is quite cool. And the last thing is shortcuts. Shortcuts were only available for Windows CE, and now we have extended that for Windows 8 and 10 and for Android, because these are the two other platforms which can be implemented in a warehouse. So there are scan guns or ruggedized tablets running on Windows 8 or Windows 10 or Windows Phone, for example, and that those can have shortcuts as well, keyboard shortcuts. Okay, and that concludes my presentation. Sorry for running out of time. We have 6 minutes over, but I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any questions, then please feel free to ask now. You have a questions tab somewhere, and you can try to use that.